It's time to get to grips with all the changes that have been happening to Google Keywords campaigns.
You're listening to the Keep Optimizing podcast to increase your traffic, improve your conversion rates, and grow your profits.
Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this Marketing Focus podcast. If you're not familiar with what we do here, well, each month we focus on a different marketing method, could be email or SEO or Facebook ads, and each week I interview a different specialist to explore the latest advice on making it work for you. This month, we're all about Google Ads, where so much has been changing. There's so much for you to get up to speed on. So far, we've covered the changes to Google Shopping. We've explored how you can use audiences to improve results across the board and taken a look at YouTube ads. And in today's episode, we're exploring the changes to Google keyword ads. So big shifts in how you approach your keyword ad activity, how you optimize it, how you build it, and a few things you probably haven't even noticed happening that my guest is going to be telling you about. So make sure you listen right to the end of the episode, not least because at the end, she's going to be sharing some quick fire insider tips to help you maximize the performance of Google ads. And then I'll be sharing my take on it all, plus outlining some more free ways we can help you improve your Google ads even more. So make sure you stay tuned right to the end. Do you want more from your paid ads campaigns this year? Are you tired of disappointing results? Are your optimizations delivering low to low performance improvements? If that all sounds familiar, well, it's because the game's changed, which means you need a chat with my friends at Digital Gearbox. They are masters in the art of pay-per-click marketing. Their expert team have helped transform businesses around the world with tried and tested strategies that actually get results. And right now, they're offering a free one-on-one consultation to 10 ambitious Keep Optimizing listeners looking to do great things in 2023. Now, only 10 of you can get this brilliant offer, so do not delay. Get your free consultation now by heading over to keepopt.com/digital gearbox. That's keepopt.com/digital gearbox. And let the Digital Gearbox team show you the true power of PPC. Today I'm chatting with Google Ads expert Imogen Collins. Imogen is head of delivery at Genie Goals, an award-winning agency driving results for ambitious e-commerce brands like Mamas and Papas, Smythson, Karl Lagerfeld and Biscuiteers. Imogen has been helping brands improve their search engine marketing since 2013. Hello, Imogen.
Hi, good to talk to you.
It's great to have you here. How did you end up in the wonderful world of Google Ads way back in 2013?
Up till 2012, end of 2012, I think, I was doing a little bit of marketing, working in an estate agency in Hampstead in London. I was kind of writing articles for property magazines, sending out direct mail outs, things like that. And they had this thing called AdWords, which was run by the head office. And I had a little look into it, and it seemed like something that I would be really good at. So I applied for an agency and I got the job. I really, really loved it. I was so into the data. I think Google Ads has this amazing benefit of being able to, you can make changes and see the effects really quickly, which is just so satisfying. And then I moved over to Cambridge a couple of years later and found Genie, which was just kind of a match made in heaven for me. Kind of a e-commerce focused agency, which is the area that I've been really, really interested in. So yeah, been there ever since.
Google Ads is one of those things which, if it gets you, it gets you. Isn't it? It's like a bit like e-commerce. If e-commerce gets you, it gets you, and there's never any escape ever. And Google Ads and the data is very much the same, certainly in my experience and in yours too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, look, let's start geeking out about Google Ads then. Let's do what we've come here to do. You're here to tell us what's going on in the world of Google keyword ads. So all those lovely text ads that appear on the search engines. We hear a lot more noise these days about shopping than we do about keywords. So as an e-commerce brand, should we still be working our keyword ads? Is it still, I mean, obviously you're here, so the answer is probably not going to be no, but is it still worth it for the great majority of e-commerce brands to be using Google keyword ads?
Obviously, shopping is a massive focus in the e-commerce space and kind of gets bigger, but I mean, obviously, I'm going to be talking about keyword ads, so the answer is yes. Yeah, it is still very relevant, but it's very different to how it was in the past. So I think shopping is a very bottom of the funnel space. You're kind of sending people straight from Google to product pages. You get those kind of higher bounce rates as people kind of move from site to site, trying to find the site with the best deal or the best shipping prices and things for the specific product they want. But then there's space in keyword ads to be that a part of the journey where people are looking for category pages or a particular brand where they can buy the types of products that they want, or kind of those lower intent searches. But there's obviously very, very high intent searches as well, but not for specific products. And we do see that there is a decent amount of spend going into keyword search still. So I've got clients where we've got 90% of spend going on Performance Max, but we've also got clients who've got 50% of spend on shopping or Performance Max, and the rest is in keyword search campaigns. So obviously the rest of that 50 to 10 to 50% of your spend going in keyword search is still really important. And obviously Performance Max does actually include keyword search. So it's kind of a shopping tool, but it has keyword search included in there. And it's not really obvious how much of that spend is going onto keyword search ads. So there's actually a lot of scope there for the breadth of your keyword search ads to be expanding, not kind of reducing.
Cool. We'll get into the PMax impact on keywords shortly, but just want to clarify that basically, guys, what we're saying here is that your shopping strategy and your keyword strategy, whilst you're logging in the same place to do it, they are different strategies with different points of the funnel that you're targeting and so forth. So definitely well worth doing keywords. And the good thing is Imogen's here now to explain to us all what's actually happening in the world of keyword ads. So before we get into the Performance Max arena, one of the biggest changes that's happening in keyword ads, and the one which in my experience is inevitably going to get the knickers in a twist of those who are working in Google Ads, is changes to the match types. Google have been playing around with our keyword match types again, haven't they, Imogen?
Things have really changed. I think that previously we had exact phrase and broad, and then we had broad match modified. Personally, I spent kind of 9 years of my career kind of outlawing broad match. If I saw broad match in a campaign that we were auditing, I immediately knew, this is going to be an account that we can really make improvements on, because obviously whoever's running it doesn't know what they're doing. And that's kind of all changed now. Phrase and exact match can show for stuff that they never would have before. It's a lot more intent based rather than actually matching the keyword to the search term. And broad match actually gets good results now, which I think might be a massive bombshell for some people listening in on this, even people who are getting really good results and know what they're doing, because not a lot of people have been willing to test. But from the testing that we've been doing, it's become standard to include broad match in campaigns, which is just such a massive change from what we had before. And then broad match modified isn't in use anymore. So it's a very different kind of world in match types than it was a few years ago.
So we need to be testing broad again if we haven't been. Broad match modifiers have gone. And then as per usual, Google's been pretty sneaky with this stuff, because phrase still exists, exact still exists, broad still exists, but they're all fundamentally totally different than they were before. So unless you've kind of read between the lines or you're up on the news, as you will be by listening to this today, you may not have realised that the definitions have changed. It's kind of Google being sneaky, as per usual, isn't it? They're changing the stuff without letting us know it's been changed.
Yeah, exactly. An exact match term used to mean it has to be that exact keyword, but now it can be anything that means the same thing as that keyword. So if you had I think the example in the Google training is, if you have lawn mowing services as an exact match keyword, grass cutting services could match with that, which is obviously completely different words, and that never would have happened before. In terms of broad match, it can be things that are related but not the same at all. But as long as you do have bidding strategies on there and Google is bidding to get the results, they're going to be optimizing towards the same performance. And so you can, as long as you have a really good negative keyword strategy, get really, really good results from that.
Again, it's kind of one of these arenas where, as we're seeing across all the ad platforms, the algorithm has the power, and we're now trying to feed the algorithm the right information and allow it to do good work for us by giving it the right bidding strategy and targets, by adding in our negatives, rather than doing the minutiae of control that we did 5-10 years ago. So I guess it's a bit of a mindset shift, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the really big difference that's happened here is that in the past, we put a lot of work up front in making sure that accounts were structured in a really, really kind of complex way that meant that everything was covered and we had a huge amount of control over that. Whereas now it's actually very kind of quick to get started, and you can show on a lot more terms with very less input early on. But then you do have to kind of have that ongoing work to make sure that you're giving the right data to Google and you're giving the signals to Google to say, yes, we want that. No, we don't want that. And that's how machine learning works, isn't it? You've got to keep saying yes, no to different things until it realizes what to go for and what the yeses are going to be.
Okay, so we've done the match type change. Let's talk about ad type changes, because whilst the keywords give us where we're going to appear, the ads are what's going to appear, and that's changed quite fundamentally as well, hasn't it, Imogen? So what's been going on in the keyword ad space?
With ads, basically there's no more expanded text ads. I think there was kind of a big change in 2016, 2018 with standard text ads, the kind of really small ones that we used to have, turning into expanded text ads, which looked like SEO listings. And I think kind of annoyed a lot of SEO people because we were really taking up a lot of space at the top of the search engine results page. Then they got even bigger in 2018, and then it was all change last year when they just took away expanded text ads, and now we've got responsive text ads, which allow Google to just swap and change all of the different assets that you provide. So all of the lines of the headlines and description lines to work out which combinations work the best. And I think it can be easy to get that wrong, because if you just kind of put in a bunch of headlines and description lines and let Google do what it wants with it, you can end up with some really dodgy looking ads based on that. And it's going to take a bit of time for Google to work out the ones that do and don't work. And during that time, you've got all sorts of strange stuff appearing in that. And I think that, there is the ability to control that. You can use pinning, so you can pin certain headlines and descriptions to make sure that everything is in the right place. And if you are in a really kind of, if you're working with a brand which needs to make sure that everything is exactly as they need it to be because they've got really strict brand guidelines, or there's a lot of kind of policy requirements that they need to comply with, then that's a good thing to do. But you're kind of losing out then on all of that machine learning that was actually going to drive better results, and you're kind of going to have low quality ads. But I guess you've got to find a middle ground where you're using the ability of the machine learning to test things out and find out what works best, whilst also kind of having a level of control so that you don't have kind of two identical headlines in the same headline appearing, if that makes sense, or just kind of weird sentences next to each other that don't make any sense in conjunction, or really poor grammar. If you're kind of leaving full stops out at the end of one line, then they'll kind of read into each other, if you see what I mean, and read as one very, very long sentence that makes no sense. You can see some strange stuff out there if you don't keep an eye on it.
I love that full stop tip. I mean, that's just gold just on its own, is put a full stop at the end of your lines. Otherwise, Google will merge them all. It's just like we were saying with the keywords. There's the algorithm is there ready to help us, and we have to feed the algorithm, but we've got to give a bit of thought into what we're feeding into the algorithm. And I think that, the pinning piece is where you want to make sure you've got the right things pinned. I can see that being a game changer for a lot of people who are, who've got the boss who's going, I just Googled us and our ads are really weird. Like, oh God, he's done it again. Or she's done it again. Give you a bit more control back in the marketing department.
And you can pin kind of multiple things to the same spot so that they can kind of test out different combinations within that spot. So you can say, these are the things I want to test out in headline 1. These are the ones I want to test out in headline 2, so that things show in the right place, but you're still having that level of testing there. So it's not, you still do have the kind of ability to test with control.
We said we'd dive into PMax, or Performance Max, which of course is a Google Shopping campaign thing, but it also now includes keywords. So before we all get totally confused, could you explain how PMax and Performance Max can impact our keyword strategy activity?
Yes, so Performance Max is obviously it's a shopping tool. It's the next evolution from standard shopping to smart shopping to Performance Max, and it uses a feed and it has assets. So the assets are going to include videos, they're going to include images, logos, and also ad copy. And these can be used across the entire Google ecosystem, wherever Google thinks, if that's the right word, thinks that they're going to get the best performance based on whatever bidding strategies you've set up. So a part of that is going to be in keyword search, and you are going to find that you might start, your PMax campaigns will start appearing in Google searches for words that you don't have covered already in your keyword campaigns. So that's a good one to remember, that if you do have a keyword search campaign set up with a particular keyword in it, that should trump your PMax campaign unless it's run out of budget, or there's all your ads have been disapproved or something like that. But PMax is allowing you to kind of have a bit more of a breadth to your campaigns that you might not have had before. And you don't get a lot of insight into what's going on in PMax, it's a bit of a black box, you can find yourself appearing for things that you might not realize you're appearing for at first. So it's definitely one to be kind of wary of and very aware of and to keep a really close eye on. But I think that it's really positive with PMax and with the broad match changes that we're able to kind of find those areas where we might have had kind of blind spots before and move into search terms that we never would have thought of before, where we might have said that no, that's a low intent search term or something like that, and find that we're actually getting really good performance. On the kind of negative side of that, I suppose you need to be really, really on your negative keywords. You don't want to be appearing on things that you shouldn't be appearing on. And I think that you're going to need to be really aware of the fact that everybody else is using PMax as well. And so people may start to become more competitive on terms that you haven't really found that you needed to spend a lot of money on in the past, and also on your brand terms. So to go further onto that, we've got kind of some clients who have never needed to run on brand search before because they've got really, really good organic listings. There's not much competition. It would just be a waste of money to be spending a lot of money on brand for them, who've started to see so much competition recently on their brand terms from competitors who never would have been bidding on other brands brand terms before. And so we're needing to switch on brand for the first time for those clients. So it's kind of changing the face of search, really.
How interesting. So guys, keep an eye out to see if you need to be turning on some brand activity, because Google may be starting to force others to appear on those search terms. And Imogen, we've talked about a lot of things that are changing and how to deal with that. How does this change our daily, weekly, monthly Google Ads task list? Because it feels like the optimization task list has changed quite fundamentally here.
So obviously there's a big line from Google saying, automation is really, really good because it's freeing up your time, and I think there's this vision, this kind of rose-tinted vision of everyone having loads and loads of extra time because everything's just automated now. I think we're not freeing up our time to do more. We're not kind of suddenly seeing that every brand is making loads of money and not needing to do any work. That's obviously not the way the world works, and things are just done differently now. The brands are going to make more money from all of this automation and have more time to do more strategic stuff for those who are able to quickly adapt and pivot to the new way that things are done and test and find out how to make it work effectively for them. So we're having to do less time early on building out campaigns, but we're having to do a lot more kind of changing and streamlining old campaigns, optimizing performance, kind of building scripts to understand our PMax performance, because it is so, I don't know, difficult to see exactly what's going on there because of the kind of black box aspects to it. We've got so many new features to test, and obviously testing takes, and there's just a kind of a lot more going on in that side of things, as well as just like the strategy side of things. So obviously you can't automate strategy, and all of this needs to be aligned with a business's KPIs and working out how to use these new tools to align perfectly with what you're actually trying to achieve as a business.
So do you find working in this new way of doing things that the negatives and adding negatives into campaigns has become a much larger part of the job?
Yeah, we're definitely having to do that, a lot more of that than we did before, but that is quite front loaded. Once you've gotten past the first month, it's not, you're not having to go in every day anymore necessarily. But at first, when you're launching campaigns, because we're using Broadmatch and PMax to do search and shopping, you obviously, I mean, you could just set it and forget it, and I'm sure eventually Google would learn, but you'd probably be throwing a lot of money as some stuff that really isn't going to work in the meantime. So you definitely need to be keeping really, really on it and making sure that you're not appearing for stuff that is not aligned with your brand.
Cool. And for anyone for whom all of this is new, they're going, oh my word, there's been so many changes, what do I do? Would you advise creating brand new campaigns for a clear line in the sand to recreate them in the right way for this new way of working, or to amend existing campaigns? Or is it a bit of both?
A bit of both. Yeah, I think that for PMax, I personally would say switch off your old shopping campaigns and create new PMax campaigns. And then I would also say if you don't have any keyword campaigns for the new stuff that's coming up, then definitely be building out new campaigns for those. I wouldn't just launch PMax and just allow that to take over all your keyword campaigns, because I think the automated ad copy that you're going to be seeing there is not going to be on brand. It's not going to be perfectly aligned with what person is searching and have that kind of high relevancy that you're going to need. So I think you want to be building out proper keyword campaigns for things that previously didn't exist, but you're kind of coming up and having good performance. In terms of your old keyword search campaigns, I would just restructure them into the campaign that existed before, so that you've got that continuity of performance in the campaign. I think Google's going to be able to learn from the keywords that existed previously. If you still had them live, I would just keep them live, so you're not having to kind of look at performance of old keywords and new keywords and match that up together. But I would say you do want to be restructuring and simplifying things. So you don't need to have loads and loads and loads of very highly segmented campaigns anymore. It works better with the automated bidding to have fewer, simpler, more streamlined campaigns. If you've got everything being split out into loads of ad groups with exact match, phrase match, broad match, and that kind of thing, that's just making things more difficult. It's making it more complicated. It's making it harder for people to understand when they go into the account to run it than other people who work in your agency or in your brand. But it's also making it more difficult for the machine learning to optimize effectively.
Cool. There you go, guys. A nice little, not quite as big a to-do list as you may have feared there. Thank you so much for all of that, Imogen. It's been a pleasure picking your brains even about keyword ads. Listeners, remember to stay tuned right to the end so you don't miss out on Imogen's insider tips on Google Ads and my suggestions for more free resources to help you improve things even further in your business. Do you want more from your paid ads campaigns this year? Are you tired of disappointing results? Are your optimizations delivering no to low performance improvements? If that all sounds familiar, well, it's because the game's changed, which means you need a chat with my friends at Digital Gearbox. They are masters in the art of pay-per-click marketing. Their expert team have helped transform businesses around the world with tried and tested strategies that actually get results. And right now, they're offering a free one-on-one consultation to 10 ambitious Keep Optimising listeners looking to do great things in 2023. Now, only 10 of you can get this brilliant offer, so do not delay. Get your free consultation now by heading over to keepopt.com/digital gearbox. That's keepopt.com/digital gearbox. And let the Digital Gearbox team show you the true power of PPC. Okay, Imogen, so far we've gone deep into keyword ads. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of Google Ads. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with Google Ads at all, which of course does include keyword ads. Imogen, are you ready?
I think so.
Cool. Let's start with newbie advice. If we've inspired someone to take their first step, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success?
So if you're starting with AdWords for the first time, I would say you want to get your AdWords exams taken. So do the fundamentals course and learn the basics and kind of have a really good idea of what everything means before you go in there and start just doing stuff and spending money. You can get access to Google reps who will kind of help you through the first steps of getting started. But I would kind of make sure you have an idea of what you're doing before you just launch something that they've kind of told you to launch. I've gone into accounts and audited accounts before that have been set up by the kind of basic Google reps who do that initial setup stage. And I've seen some really kind of wacky things in there, like a kind of high fashion brand who had just the word hoodie in broad match, spending like hundreds of pounds every day. And that was definitely not right for them and was just wasting a whole lot of money that they kind of didn't understand what the issue was with that because they hadn't kind of gotten that initial knowledge. After that, I would make sure that you've got your tracking set up properly. You need to know when people are converting in order to have effective advertising. Get your Google Analytics set up properly so you know everything that's happening on the website. Make sure remarketing is working so that you can be taking advantage of people who've visited your site before but didn't. You know, if you've got a 1% conversion rate, then there's 99% of people who are going to the site and not doing anything, and you want to be bringing them back and kind of making your knowledge about those people work. You want to start simply, so don't try and overcomplicate things. You can start off by, if you've got a feed, you can start off with a nice PMax campaign on a low budget. Make sure you set a bidding strategy with a ROAS. If you are a revenue driving business, you don't want to be just kind of throwing money at the wall. So make sure that you're kind of targeting something that works for your business, and make sure you're checking your search queries report very regularly at first. And if it all seems too complicated, then pay someone else to do it.
Yeah. Brilliant checklist there, and a brilliant piece of advice at the end too. Now, once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favorite way to improve performance?
So I think that you need to be keeping a really close eye on your ROAS, so your return on ad spend. And you want to be checking to kind of verify it against your Google Analytics data. And then you need to be kind of not tweaking that too often, because Google needs a bit of time to get started with bidding strategies. But at the same time, if you're seeing that nothing is happening, then it's possible that you've set a much too difficult ROAS to achieve. So you might want to start with kind of 100% ROAS and then go from there and kind of work up to what you actually want to achieve in the long term. Or you can even start off with kind of maximize clicks to get up that data that you need to be able to see how many conversions you're actually getting on a regular basis before then moving on to a kind of revenue driving or sales driving bidding strategy, in order to make sure that you've kind of got the data that you need in order to make those changes.
Excellent. And if someone listening wants to learn more, is there one cheap or free resource you would recommend?
So recently I've actually really been interested in a blog called the PPC Mastery blog. I think it's ppcmastery.com. Yeah, that's it. I found that recently, and it's just been really, really, really kind of actionable, useful stuff that just seems like kind of cutting edge and up to date with stuff that you can be kind of trying on a weekly basis in your accounts.
Nice, love that. That's a proper tip. Not that the rest of them haven't been proper tips, but we're saying ppcmastery.com for the latest and greatest things to test.
I found it to be a really, really useful blog.
Cool, excellent. And finally, Imogen, it is crystal ball time. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months we should be getting ready for?
Obviously, universal analytics is going to be phased out in July. So I would make sure you've got a GA4 set up ASAP and make sure that you've got the kind of ability to do reporting between your old Universal Analytics setup and your GA4 setup. I'm hoping that we're going to get more visibility into PMax. Fingers crossed on that one. And I think that phrase match is going to get phased out at some point this year because it's kind of becoming a bit redundant with the way that match types are going. Lastly, in terms of CPCs, I think they're going to remain on the high side, but I'm hopeful that we're going to see a slight drop. Not for good reasons necessarily because of the cost of living crisis. I think there is going to be kind of a pullback in some marketing budgets from some people, and hopefully that's going to mean a bit less competition for those who still kind of wanting to get really strong performance.
Lovely, a whole host of things for us to be looking forward to there. And yeah, decreases in CPCs, we will always take those. Imogen, we are very nearly at the end of the show, so could you please let the listeners know where they can find you and your business?
Oh yes, so geniegoals.com. So Genie Goals, we're a digital marketing agency based in Cambridge. We specialise in paid search, paid social and affiliate marketing. We only work with ambitious e-commerce brands, and part of our mission is to positively impact the world. So that runs through everything we do, from making sure that our workplace looks after our people to making sure that we only work with clients that are aligned with our values. We're a premier partner with Google and Meta, top agency partner with AWIN, and we're one of the only 2 UK agencies that are a Google accredited internationalization specialist. So we've got the tools and expertise to help our clients expand internationally.
Very cool. Congrats on that one. Imogen, thank you so much for coming on and taking us through the ins and outs of all the stuff that's going on in keyword ads. We've left the listeners with a massive to-do list, but that's a good thing. So thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So loads changing in the world of Google keyword ads that you might not have realised. So the keyword match types, still called the same things, but they're doing different things. Most important thing of all of that is that it's now very much worth testing the broad match options to help you grow your activity and find those hidden sweet spots of traffic. Ad formats have changed greatly. So you've really got to think as you're writing your ad copy about how you're going to feed that algorithm and give it the information it needs to create great results for you, but also how you protect yourself at the same time. So pinning options to certain points in the ad text, and also that idea of putting full stops at the end of the sentences to grammatically protect you from weirdness. I love that tip. And then also be aware that Performance Max, which is technically a Google shopping campaign, is also creating ads that will appear on the search results and look like keyword ads. So keep an eye out for those. That's particularly useful if you're like, where has this ad come from? That's probably where it's coming from. Work on those negatives, restructure your campaigns, simplify those campaigns. Lots to do, but lots of potential there as well if you change that mindset and change the way you're working with them. You can get links to all those things we discussed, the full transcript of the episode, notes, and much more at keepoptimising.com. Or to go straight to this episode, use our direct to episode links. That's keepopt.com/whatever the number of this episode is, and it will take you straight to the correct page on the website. Once you get to the website, make sure you add yourself to our email list so you don't miss out on any of the other stuff I share to help you improve your business. And whilst you're on the website, you can also sign up to our monthly Q&A webinar. Yes, we are back doing the Q&A sessions for you after our little Christmas break. And we are going to have lots of our Google Ads specialists coming back to join us for a live Q&A session where you can get your nitty-gritty questions and your big picture questions answered about all this stuff that's going on Google Ads at the moment. We will be going live in just a couple of weeks, so make sure you get yourself signed up. And if you go to keepopt.com/webinar, you will find all the details of when and where that is happening. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Keep Optimising podcast. If you've enjoyed it, then do check out episode 132, where we got into the nitty-gritty of the changes on Google Shopping. As listener Janice Thomas said, that was a really clear summary I will be sharing with my team. So go on, have a listen and then share this one and that one with your team to make sure you are across all these alterations that are happening in Google Adland. You can find all our Google Ads episodes by scrolling up your feed or heading to keepopt.com/Google Ads. And please do tell your fellow marketers about the show, because I want to help as many marketers as possible to improve the performance of their Google Ads. Have a great week and make sure you listen to the next episode so I can help you to keep optimizing your marketing.
Access everything Keep Optimizing at keepoptimizing.com. That's with an S, not a Z.
Do you want more from your paid ads campaigns this year? Are you tired of disappointing results? Are your optimizations delivering no to low performance improvements? If that all sounds familiar, well, it's because the game's changed, which means you need a chat with my friends at Digital Gearbox. They are masters in the art of pay-per-click marketing. Their expert team have helped transform businesses around the world with tried and tested strategies that actually get results. And right now, they're offering a free one-on-one consultation to 10 ambitious Keep Optimizing listeners looking to do great things in 2023. Now, only 10 of you can get this brilliant offer, so do not delay. Get your free consultation now by heading over to keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox. That's keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox. And let the Digital Gearbox team show you the true power of PPC.